Welcome to Samstown Bowling Center for this exciting senior event, no doubt about it. Hello, everyone. I'm Phil Ferguson, along with my partner, pretty good bowler, 17-time PBA champion Carmen Salvino. And Carmen, when you talk about the U.S. Open, whether it be tennis, golf, bowling, a demanding condition, usually, that's what we had this week, but a fair condition, and the cream rises to the top, doesn't it?
Well, we had 448 bowlers, and we've got a real strong field tonight, and it wouldn't surprise me if we had a possible 300 game.
I'd love to see that. Let's talk about the opening match. You've got a couple of players that haven't been there before. Number 5 seed Vince Range, also number 4 Ted Fraley. Vince, the only lefty in the field.
Yes, he's the only lefty in the field, and I don't know if he's going to be intimidated by these right-handers, but we'll see that, if it happens or not. And we have Ted Fraley. He's made the show 6 times, but tonight is night.
All right, we're going to see in just a minute. It's going to be Vince Range, seeded number 5, going up against number 4 seed Ted Fraley in our opening match coming up next. Samstown Hotel, Gambling Hall, and Bowling Center, Las Vegas, Nevada. Also by Storm Bowling Products, the innovative bowling company. By Head & Bowling, revolutionizing bowling. And by Turbo 2-in-1 grips. We have a grip on bowling. Welcome back to Samstown Bowling Center. And Carmen, we're ready for what should be an exciting championship round, and the opening match just about set to go.
Yes, the only thing that we've got to watch here is the fact that these two gentlemen have never won a tournament. I've watched them practice. They're doing well in practice, but now the bell has rung. What's going to happen now?
Vince Range, the lone lefty in the tournament, starts it off, carries them all. Nice shot, especially out of the gate for somebody that's never been on television before. I'm sure he was thinking of that shot a long time.
You can bet his heart's beating pretty fast, but even with that, he made the shot. That's the important thing.
Another player yet to win, Ted Fraley, up on 20. Finishes nice, and I know with the players just watching the action all week, the carry was fantastic out here.
Yeah, the pin action's been great. The carry's been good. The thing I'd like to comment about Ted for a moment is he tends to fly the elbow. That's the only time he seems to get in trouble is when he gets to the release point, his elbow pops out. But if he keeps that elbow in a little bit, he's throwing that ball really great.
I think he basically just did what you said,
yes,
Carmen.
And it went high. When you do that, it makes the ball go to the left. It makes the ball hook too soon.
Well, he's going to have a difficult spare. They got to come across lane, carry the 3-6-10. Went to a different ball, hard surface.
Right. Went to a lower friction ball, so the ball will slide and go in a more direct line. Less chance of chopping.
So Fraley opens the match with a strike. Then a 7 spare, and Range now up. Range was not in range in the opening 6 games, averaged just 208, but after that caught fire.
Yes.
Threw it out a little bit and didn't get the break right off, but he did get a break, leaving just the single pin.
Let's watch this replay. Now, the weakness that I found that Vince has a tendency to let the ball drift away from his body. See, the ball will go in and then come out and get around in front of him, and when he does that, his ball goes to the right. So
Range trying to convert the single pin, spare, and makes it. So we are dead even here. It looks like some jitters have set in after the opening shot for both the players. Range will now come up in the 3rd frame again. Both these players looking for their very first seniors championship, and it doesn't get any easier after this opening match, going up against a very tough opponent in Gary Dickinson.
He's a tough player. He's been there many times.
These players, I'm sure, just thinking about each shot in this game at the moment. Range up in the 3rd. Looked like he threw a better shot.
He seems to be lined up pretty well on 19, but his ball seems to be hooking a little bit on early on 20. He's going to have to move his body to the center and try to play the oil line a little better.
Fraley was struck on this lane in the opening frame. Doesn't carry this one, leaving that 7-pin. We could see some of those today.
Yes, what happened, he broke a little behind the pocket, and the 5-pin went in the front of the 7.
Range +1 if you spare.
Fraley converts, keeping it on the lane, going again to a harder surface ball to pick up the spare, and right now Range with that 1-pin advantage. And if you take a look now, round by round, Pete Couture, boy, in command throughout.
Well, Pete actually in the 3rd round was the only time he didn't lead the tournament, but the more interesting fact is look at John Handegard. He had 101 spot moved up.
Fraley with a beautiful shot here in the 4th frame, and he trails by 1. So it is Ted Fraley going up against Vince Range in match 1. We'll be back after this. Vince Range up now in the 4th frame, up by 1. Had a little problem now on 20, it looks like.
Yes, like I said earlier, the ball's hooked a little earlier on 20. He's going to have to move his feet. He moved a little bit, but he really didn't move enough. And, you know, it's easy to sit back here and tell somebody, but they're out there under that pressure. It's a little different.
Range now trying to convert, which should be the easy spare. Most pro players don't miss this today, Carmen. No, they better not, or they wouldn't be out there. So Range continues to lead by just that slim 1 pin. So he heads now into the 5th frame, and it looks like both players kind of feeling out the lanes and really haven't settled in yet, but they're going to have to get it going if either one of these players hope to advance very far.
Yeah, this is almost like a little sparring match right now. They're kind of feeling out the lane, feeling each other out. But like you said, someone's going to have to take command and take over.
Range up in the 5th, got it out there. Just looked like a little soft on that one, maybe just a little tentative.
That's exactly. It seems like he's hanging on to the ball. He's not getting that clean release he was getting in the practice session.
Range makes this spare. Fraley will now have the 1-pin lead should that happen, and both players again just struggling a little bit in the early going. Range again, the cross got the 2 easily, so Range now trails by just 1 pin, and kind of interesting, a piano player for 19 years he was, and guess why? His mom made him do it. There's no doubt about that. He told me that. You don't play piano for 19 years if you don't have to.
You know, an interesting thing about Ted, about 3 months ago, he was sitting in a chair with no motion. He had an automobile accident. He had a lot of problems with his body.
And had a problem with that shot, got away from him a little bit, and big split there. I know, talking about Ted, that automobile accident, he came back after about 3 months, started with a 12-pound ball, made his way back, and said he's about 90%, I guess, right now.
It'll be range up 11 if he gets 1.
Fraley just going for pin count, I think, early in the match, 5th frame.
Plus 11 to range.
For Fraley now, I talked to him earlier about any problems this week, and interesting gentleman is Ted Fraley.
It was really mostly carry. I hit the pocket pretty well, but I had a few bad games, but I had a lot of big games. In my very first block, I had 4 games over 250, and then I had 2 real tiny games. But because I had the great carry, when I could get lined up, I threw the big games, and eventually the score builds that way, and that's what kept me going.
Plus 11 range.
Fraley having some problems right now, picks up the spare.
Still plus 11.
Range on top by 11 pins at this point, and we talked about somebody trying to make a move. It hasn't happened yet. Range in the 6th frame now, working on a spare. Threw a little bit more power there, a little more authoritative on that shot, and I think he's going to have to keep making the good shots, get lined up. One of these players is going to have to get lined up pretty quickly.
That's right. Now, he did move. He made an excellent move. He made an excellent shot. The ball just broke a little bit late, but he's right in the zone that he needs to be.
Range, a former geometry teacher. It's going to have to figure out the lanes, no doubt.
Now, you see, he's the only person actually using his strike ball for his spare ball. And that particular time, it cost him to spare because that ball hooks too much. And watch it break. It'll break real sharp. There it goes. You can't use that much friction on spares today.
Well, both players are playing you take this match, aren't they? Fraley leads by 1. Range up now in the 7th frame. Struggle on this TV pair with that 203 average. Again, leaving the 7 pin. So will he make a move, do you think?
I think he's in the zone. I think the problem right now is he's squeezing a little bit. He's not free with the release. I think if he could just relax a little bit, he'll start stringing them.
Range working on the spare. He's going to pick it up this time. So Vince Range down 1 to Ted Fraley. Match number 1. There's Bill Christmas, president of Storm Products. Certainly has done an unbelievable job along with the other sponsors here in the BPAA US Open. Range again with some problems here in the 9th frame. Now down by a pin. This match is seesawed back and forth.
Yeah, so Range was really out of time that time, and the ball got way ahead of his body, and he knew it. He just knew it before he released the ball.
Range, a former member of the Harris State College bowling team. That's in St. Louis. He also played baseball in college. Quite an athlete. Stuck a little bit on that. Still able to convert the spare, and Range now. And Fraley still going at it. Fraley, 1 pin up heading into the 9th frame. As you take a look now, Carmen.
Well, he's starting to hook away from the pins again, and that's what I was talking about earlier. You just can't throw that high of friction. They even slipped a little bit. He was lucky he didn't go over the line.
Fraley in the 9th frame. Oh, what a break. The break of the match for Ted Fraley as he continues to lead now by 1 pin. A big break.
The bowling gods were sitting on his shoulder that time. He really was lucky, let's face it.
So Fraley basically can wrap up this match in the 10th frame.
He needs 2 to shut him out.
Again, got the carry, and Fraley, it looked like kept the arm a little tight to his body, still able to get that strike. Needs 1 more now to wrap up the match.
That's right. If he gets 1 more, Range can't win anymore because Range's potential is only 196, and he would be 200 plus.
Interesting about Fraley, he used basically 1 ball throughout the entire tournament. You don't see or
that is
hear about
amazing.
That.
He strikes on this one, he's 2 lows.
Fraley needs a strike to win. Got it. Maybe the best shot of the match right there.
That's right. That was the best arm swing he threw in the whole match, and the ball was really alive, had a lot of power on it.
So there's your winner, Ted Fraley, in the opening match of the BPAA Senior US Open. Fraley just going to finish it out here, hopefully get lined up now for match number 2 where he goes up against Gary Dickinson. I don't think it's going to be any piece of cake against Gary. Maybe trying to find something on that shot.
Yeah, I think he moved a little bit on the inside to see if he could swing it, and I think he realized that he can't. So he's going to have to go with that power he threw in the 11th frame and keep the drive on the ball and keep that energy.
Fraley averaged 221 throughout the 50 games, just a 205 in game number 1, but it's going to be good enough to defeat the lone lefty in the U.S. Open, the Senior U.S. Open, Vince Range. But a nice appearance for a first time on television.
Well, you know, let's say, face it, right now he's more relaxed. He knows he can't win the match, and that was the best shot he threw. That was a shot he was throwing in practice. But it's easy to throw in practice, but very difficult to throw when you have an opponent shooting against you.
Crowd loves it here at Sam's Town Bowling Center in beautiful Las Vegas. Range will be in the 190 range.
By 9.
Range will just finish it out here. Fraley with a 205 will meet Gary Dickinson in the second match here in the BPAA Senior US Open. Vince Range with a 196. Earlier, I had a chance to chat with the national sales manager of Hedden Bowling Company, Dorman Spencer. First of all, Dorman, certainly delighted to have Hedden Bowling Corporation involved in this prestigious event, number one.
Well, we're very proud to be a part of it also, to help the senior bowlers, and we're really excited about the prospects of doing it again in the future.
When you talk about Hedden Bowling Corporation, let's go back. You've been involved in this for quite a number of years, haven't you?
Yes, Hedden Bowling Corporation. Hedden's been in the bowling industry about 35 years. More recent years, we developed into a full-line capital equipment manufacturer with synthetic lanes, which is what our lanes are what the players are bowling on here at Samstown today. We've got some very innovative products. Our Genesis 14 ball returns with the saddlebag option makes the ball return hold 20 bowling balls. And of course, today's players, they all got 2, 3, 4 bowling balls. This year at the National Trade Show here in Las Vegas, we introduced a new single cycle SCX 300i pin setter that's going to revolutionize the way the game is played. And we're really up on the bowling industry, and we think that there's a good future ahead.
Heading in the right direction, no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dorman. Welcome back to Samstown in Las Vegas, Samstown Bowling Center, the BPAA Senior US Open. Next match, it's going to be Ted Fraley going up against smooth-stroking Gary Dickinson. Stay tuned. Ted Fraley starting the match, going up against really one of my all-time favorites, Gary Dickinson. If you want your son or daughter to emulate somebody's bowling swing, it's Gary Dickinson.
Boy, he's got a great style. He gets up there, he's smooth. But let's talk about Ted for the moment. That's
nice opening shot.
Right. He kept his elbow a little more tucked in. It's okay if the elbow flies after the ball is released, but if you're flying the elbow while you're releasing the ball, then you're going to create the ball to go into a spin, either skid or cut.
Fraley beat Vince Range in the opening match in the BPAA Senior US Open, 205 to 196. Gary Dickinson. Beautiful shot to start the match by someone who has won 4 senior titles, twice PBA Senior Player of the Year.
You know, it's amazing about Gary Dickinson. He's about 6'4". He's really not designed for bowling. What helps him is he's got tremendous long arms. And if it wasn't for those long arms, he'd have trouble being a great bowler.
It seems that Gary Dickinson, whenever a major championship is out there, he's after it.
Right.
Dickinson in the second frame. Got it out. Had some problems on that one.
It's hard for Gary to get started, but once he gets rolling, he gets like a machine. Here's his long arms, and that ball just came out of his hand too fast.
Well, the light's a little bit hot out there. Might cause that.
Spazzy has 20.
Dickinson trying to convert.
Oh, he got
it on the back.
He got it.
Flip. He walked away. Never walk away from a shot in bowling. That's what they told me.
Never take your eyes off the pins. There's a lesson to be learned. Watch this.
Gary
Isn't that
walked
beautiful?
Back and break for Dickinson. That's how you're supposed to get it, I think. Fraley up in the second frame. And the part about Fraley's game, strong.
I'll tell you. Now, he just threw 2 powerful shots, and he was telling me that he went to Don Johnson, got a little help to get his release better and get a little more power into the release.
Johnson said of Fraley, most aggressive bowler on the senior tour, likes to attack. He's done just that in the first 2 frames of match number 2.
He's stuck. I don't think he wants to try to do that over again.
There is Will Hedden, president of Hedden Bowling, again, sponsor of this event, co-sponsor. Just a tremendous job. Tremendous individual.
Yes.
Fraley now has Dickinson. Maybe right where he wants him, I guess, but it's early in the match. And Dickinson seems to always have trouble TV day in that opening match. And he's having a little problems here after throwing a great shot in frame number 1. Came back and struggled. We'll see if he can come back with a nice shot here in the third frame. Needs to get aggressive, and I think nice shot there. Let it go a little bit, came back, and Dickinson now trails by 20.
You're going to need 10 frames to beat Gary Dickinson. You're not going to beat him in the first 3. I guarantee you that.
Well, he's won 8 titles on the national tour, 4 titles on the senior circuit. I think you're right. Comes out of that one. Got them all. So Gary Dickinson with a double. Dickinson trails by 10 to Ted Fraley in match number 2 of the BPAA Senior US Open. Vinny Atria, good bowler.
You know, there's a lot of good bowlers throughout the country. Look at this, number 4. Just because they don't have pro by their name doesn't mean they can't play.
448 players started this week on Monday. Down to the final 5. They had several cuts in this tournament, but that is a demanding field, and going through 50 games takes a toll on some of the players, especially the senior players.
You know, a lot of people don't realize you're carrying 2 to 4 16-pound balls across these bowling centers. You're moving 2 or 3 pairs every game. There's a lot of energy expelled out there.
Fraley in the 5th, got it. First 5. Fraley, officer in the United States Air Force for over 20 years. Got him down here.
Somebody lit his fire. He's got power in that ball now. He's throwing that ball just like he threw that in that 11th frame when he threw that real strong ball. He's lined up now. He seems very confident.
Confident, the key word here. Gary Dickinson in the 5th, trails now by 30. A little bit of trouble there. Let's take a look at Gary Dickinson's form.
The only weakness I see in Gary's game is every now and then he'll get real soft. He's got that beautiful long arm swing, but watch, he'll get soft with that release. Oh, my. My.
Certainly what he didn't want to do.
Now, he opened the door.
87 in the 4th, 96.
Gary Dickinson now in the 6th frame, having some problems through a couple of good shots, and then came back, and when you miss a spare out there, going up against Ted Fraley with 5 in a row, it's going to be difficult. Comes right back, mark of a true champion.
Yes, that's why he's a champion. He's shooting 96 in the 5th frame. He's got a potential 246, and Fraley's working on 230, so this game is not over by no means.
Dickinson elected in the Hall of Fame, PBA Hall of Fame in 1988, the ABC Hall of Fame in 1992.
And then a strike.
Ted Fraley. Got it out. And the chance at a perfect game. You called it early, maybe a 300 game, but we might have to wait till this next match or the championship match.
We got close.
119. 2 spares. He has 139 in the 5th. Plus 43 if he makes it.
Fraley converts here, still has a commanding lead, and we just talked about 300 games. There you are this week. Pete Couture, Gary Dickinson had one, Vince Range, the lefty out here, Fred Strasser, Roger Workman, and also Bob Hart. So 300 games, there were a few this week that got the crowd going. It's been really, the crowds out here have been nice, enthusiastic.
Now, I wish the people would come out and see this in person, not only on television, and see how great these guys are, because a lot of them don't make TV. You only have the top 5. But he had great pin action there, didn't he?
Fraley comes back with a big strike and leads by 43 pins now over Gary Dickinson in match number 2 of the BPAA Senior US Open. Back in a minute. Stubborn 7-pin. Threw a nice shot there.
Yeah, he still is a little soft. And when I say soft, he's relaxing his fingers too much at the release point, and that's not Gary's best game. His timing's good, but his release is a little shaky.
Dickinson converts the 7-pin, and he's going to have to start to throw some strikes if he wants to get back in this match, and it looks like Ted Fraley gaining some ground. Possible 226 should Dickinson go off the sheet here.
But right now, he needs to strike out. This is key. He's got to start right now, and he's got to hope that Fraley gets a bad break and opens. But that's the only way this match is going to go.
Fraley not having won a title, throw a couple strikes.
Right.
You never know. Dickinson in the 8th. Nice shot there. Came out of it and threw a shot that he had to have here in the 8th frame.
Now, remember, Fraley flew fighters, so in Vietnam, you're not going to scare him that easy.
He can handle the pressure, no doubt about it. We take a look at the Pro-Am leaders. Monty Cole, there you are. Nick Covers, Joyce Wetzel, $1,000 each of those players. Pro-Am, always a fun event to bowl with the pros.
Oh, that's a chance you get to meet with, mingle with the people. That's the fun.
Fraley, a 10-pin in the 8th frame, still in control of this game at the moment, but I think you hit on it with Dickinson throwing that big strike in the 8th. A little pressure on him here.
Oh, yes. You know, the one thing you have to be careful if you're sitting where Fraley is, don't get too cautious. Then all of a sudden you try to just stay clean and something will happen. So you've got to go out there and be aggressive. Try to think of throwing 3 or 4 strikes in a row and closing the match rather than being cautious.
Fraley still with the big lead as he heads into the 9th frame. Fraley, over those 50 games all week, averaged 221, and Gary Dickinson 222. A lot of games and impressive scoring.
And you have to be in good condition to bowl that many games and then still be sharp.
Fraley up in the 9th. And a stubborn 10-pin, and all the amateurs around the country know about the old 10-pin. Take that out of the rack. A lot of perfect games, right?
Be a few more 300 games.
Drops the lead to 42. He needs 2 more. He needs 2 marks if Dickinson strikes out. No, 2 marks if Dickinson strikes out.
Fraley looking to convert the 10-pin and covers nicely. So Fraley settling down now, and Dickinson, he's up here in the 9th and 10th. And
what's going through his mind right now is he knows.
With Gary, I had a chance to talk to him earlier, and we talked about this possibly being the highlight of his career.
Oh, it'd be a very prestigious tournament for me to win. I won the U.S. Open in 1983, and to be able to do it again here with the seniors would be one of the highlights of my career.
Big key here, big shot in the 9th frame, and Dickinson can't buy a strike now, and we're in Las Vegas. And I tell you, when you can't buy a strike, get out of town.
Either that or head for the tables.
Dickinson, certainly classic bowler. Love to watch Gary Dickinson, Tita Semez, smooth stroking. From the left side, Dave Davis. Classic bowlers. Like I said, the kids out there, you watch this guy bowl and you're going to have a great game.
And he's a fine gentleman. And speaking of the casinos, a lot of people don't realize that Vegas has got a beautiful community around the town. I've been to a lot of homes, and it's beautiful out there, and a lot of people are moving out here, not just for the casinos only.
Dickinson in the 10th, 156 in the 8th, working on a spare. Gets the strike there, but trouble for Gary Dickinson. Dickinson, a couple of years ago, won the senior championship, carried it with it, a 3-year exemption into the Tournament of Champions, the World Tournament of Champions, Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. So that's always an exciting event. Quite a bowler.
And credit to the sport, really. That's important. You know, it's amazing. Even though he can't win the match, you still want to bowl the best you can. You don't want to get that deuce, at least shoot 200 so you look respectable.
Well, Gary has struggled in opening games on TV, and it appears that continues, but quite a player. He's won a lot of tournaments. So Dickinson finishes strong with a 206, but too little too late. Ted Fraley is going to win this match. Dickinson really having some problems early on in that match. And Fraley really doesn't need to throw, but you want to get lined up for the next match, and he's going to have another tough game coming up, and that would be against John Handegard. There's Pam Martin. Great job all week. Night manager at Samstown Bowling Center right here, and boy, what a beautiful facility. 56 beautiful lanes.
and highly polished lanes. They shine beautifully. You get good scores. You get good pin action here. That's unusual to have that great a pin action.
Beautiful facility. Went under some renovation recently. 600 new rooms. It's just great. Had an opportunity to talk with Dave Bernhardt, president of Turbo 2-in-1 Grips, another sponsor of this event. All right, Dave, from Turbo 2-in-1 Grips. First of all, next year you're going to be a senior, so good luck bowling out here, maybe in this particular tournament. But the advantage now of grips in bowling balls?
Comfort control is the most important part. It does give you more revolutions in certain situations, but comfort control, I would say, the most important part.
When you talk about turbo grips right now, the advantage, I guess you were the originator of the fluorescent grips, right?
That's correct. We come out perhaps 3 years ago with fluorescent grips, and it's taken off real well.
Good luck. I guess you have a couple of teams coming up in the World Team Challenge there?
Yes, we have 2 finalists in the World Team Challenge. We finished second in the Grand Championship last year and hope to do better this year.
Are you going to be bowling?
I'll be bowling, myself, Bob Learn, Ted Hannes, a fellow from Finland, Mika, and Steve Fair.
Well, I know Ted pretty well. Looks like a pretty good team. Steve Fair out of Cincinnati.
Steve Fair, a Hall of Famer. We should have a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the next match is going to be Ted Fraley going up against 2-time PBA Senior Player of the Year, John Handegard. That's coming up in just... Handegard, twice PBA Senior Player of the Year. He's won 12 senior titles.
Well, he's just gone through a pretty tough guy, Gary Dickinson, so he's proved to me he's got some guts out there, I'll tell you that.
Handegard will start the match through a pretty impressive shot. And if you look at Handegard, no expression on that face. I've watched him many times, and he's cool, loves the lights. Comes out of the gate strong with that strike against Ted Fraley, who won against Gary Dickinson in match 2, 237 to 206. Not how you want to start the semifinal match.
That's called grandma's teeth. You don't need that.
How does this happen, Carmen?
The ball cuts too sharp and goes right through without deflection, and it can be made. It can be made.
With 2 balls and 4, 7, 9, 10.
He's got his shot off.
All right, I think you go for pin count early on in the match, don't you?
That certainly did.
Well, for Fraley, he had mentioned before that these 3 tough competitors are coming up here right now, and Couture, of course, if he gets that far, certainly is tough. And we heard from
They're
him
all, solid quality bowlers. They've all been here a lot of times before, so there's not going to be any easy games. It's probably going to be some pretty decent scoring, and it's just a matter of who makes the best shots and gets a few breaks, and he's going to come out ahead of each match.
Certainly not an easy road for Fraley. He marked with a strike in the second frame, but after that car accident, boy, lucky to be walking.
Yes, and he's on a weightlifting program to get himself in shape, and John's going for a double, and he's got it.
They carry a little luck here in Las Vegas, and you might do all right. Handegard, a little smile on the face early in the match. Did a lot of things right.
He's got a great release there, and he's going to get that great pin action. The ball is driving through. And let me say something about John right now. He's using a 14.5-pound bowling ball.
So you can carry it with a lighter ball.
You can, provided the lane has a lot of grip at the back end.
Handegard starts off with a double. Up in the third. A couple of shots there that he just happened to be going back and sitting down, and he's got 3 in a row.
You notice he didn't say anything there. He went real high. His ball is breaking sharp. It's going real high on the head pin, yet he carried because the ball is not cutting through.
Lighter ball may have been an advantage on that shot.
In that particular case, it certainly was.
Fraley up in the third. Good shot. Leaves the 4 pin, so Fraley now is going to have to start coming back, but he had a tough match, the opening match against Vince Range, and came through, and then really bowled well against Gary Dickinson. And here he is, holding in that first tournament since that car accident. Covers the 4 pin nicely, so Fraley trails by 32, but this is early on in the match. But John Handegard has won a senior title in at least one title in the 7 years he's been out here. So you don't want to get down too early.
No, you don't want
too
to
much.
Give him too much of a head start. It's hasta la vista.
Fraley counters with a strike in the fourth frame, still trails John Handegard here in match number 3 of the BPAA Senior US Open, and maybe the players now starting to think about that top prize of $40,000, a nice prize.
Little pocket change, so I wouldn't turn it down.
Handegard, the local favorite from Las Vegas, he said that it meant a lot to him this week with the crowd cheering for him just about every shot.
Did you see that?
And that could be the problems with that light ball.
That's right. That's right. There's a little trade-off. You go a little high, you get some breaks, but look at this ball. Watch it deflect. Wacko. It went to the right. It went right by the 9-pin.
So Handegard has just let Ted Fraley back in this match with the 8-10 here in the fourth frame. He'll go for count and covers that 10. So Handegard still leading in this match. I talked to Handegard, and he said he loves this tournament here at Samstown.
It's great. You know, it started out with over 400 bowlers, and it takes 50 games to work down to this. This is one of the most phenomenal tournaments I've been associated with.
Handegard, with that split in the fourth frame now, 86 through 4, and looking here to get back on the right track. 10-pin.
You know, John is leaving the ball a little late into the pocket. It seemed like when he came real light, it carried, but that lighter ball, when you get those half hits, you will pay for. But let me say this. John told me that during the tournament, his ball was cutting too hard, and he went to this 14.5-pound ball, and he averaged 237 for about 7 or 8 games there to make the cut. So it has its place. You can't say it's wrong. It may not be right for everyone, but it's right for him.
He covers there in the fifth frame, the 10-pin, in last year's senior money leader with over $64,000 in earnings. Also won a national title, age of 57, the oldest to ever win a PBA national title. He won that event, the Northwest Classic in Kennewick, Washington.
That's a tremendous feat when you think he's bowling the youngest bowlers in the world and the greatest youngest bowlers in the world, and he still won.
Fraley trying to catch up, 10-pin.
He's still down 18.
Still in this match, though. Picks this one up, still down 18, so hanging around.
Anything can happen when you have this many frames left and only 18 pins behind.
Fraley covers the 10-pin in the fifth frame, so it's an 18-pin advantage for the two-time Senior Player of the Year, John Handegard from Las Vegas. And the crowd again behind Handegard a little bit, but Fraley, I think, tuning that out.
Nothing's going to bother this guy. He's used to pressure.
Fraley in the sixth frame, got them all. Had an opportunity to talk with Chip Zilke from Storm Bowling Products, another sponsor of this event. Really, Chip, Storm Bowling Products, been innovative and really coming along with some nice products.
We sure have, Phil. What really got us onto the map was the Firestorm about a year ago. After that, we introduced the Forest Firestorm last fall. Both very, very successful on all the tours. Recently this year in April, we introduced our Pacific Storm Ball. Once again, it's been a tremendous hit on the tours and internationally. Also this year, we're introducing a couple of polyester balls, including our Spare Storm, which is a 90 hardness ball just produced to make spares. So we're very excited about our line this year. We're looking for some more good things, and hopefully a good tournament this week.
This particular ball you have in your hand?
This is the Pacific Storm. This is the one that's really done well over the past 4 or 5 months, and looking for some great things, hopefully this fall from it.
Really appreciate it, Chip. Thanks for being involved in this big tournament.
Thanks very much, Phil.
So we're halfway through match 3, and John Handegard has an 18-pin lead. Back with more of the Senior US Open 18.
104 in the fifth.
Problems on 20 through the 8-10 on that lane in the fourth frame, and comes back here and maybe overreacted a little bit, or over.
You know, it's strange, but every time a good bowler will leave a split or something like that, they don't make a minute adjustment. They tend to over-adjust, and that's exactly what he did. Oh,
He over-adjusted on the first shot and just certainly let Fraley right. That door opened a little bit bigger there for Fraley as he chops that off. So this match here, match number 3, Handegard, 113 through 6.
The ball just flipped too hard on the back end. He just didn't flatten it out enough.
Well, he certainly knows how to win with those 12 senior titles to his credit. Comes right back. So Handegard comes right back in the 7th with a strike. As we take a look at some of the other finishers here in the Senior U.S. Open. Mike McGrath, a lefty, out of Huntington Beach, 6th. Larry Lobb, another smooth stroker out of Tucson, finished 7th. In the Atria, the amateur, great bowler though, pockets $3,000, finishing 8th.
Goes to +5.
Fraley leaving that 4 pin. So this match really, anybody now as we head into the latter frames, does it give an advantage to Handegard in a close match here, I guess?
Yes, I would, because he's a little more experienced. He's been winning, and you know, when someone starts winning a lot of tournaments, your opponent starts thinking, well, he's going to win, because things like go his way, and you get it in your head that you can't beat this guy.
Well, Fraley has been very tough, winning the first 2 matches, 205 to 196 in the opener over Vince Raines, 237 to 206 over Gary Dickinson. Last match, we take a look at some of the other finishers. Jim Fraser finishing 9th, followed by Allie Clark from near my hometown, Zanesville, Ohio, and Mel Wolfe 11th in this exciting event. A great week for these senior bowlers. So Fraley now up in the 8th frame, and certainly in this match, and I think he's going to be in this match to the end.
Yes, no, Fraley's actually throwing the ball real good right now, and he starts to carry. He might just strike out and win this match.
Out of the 7 rounds, Fraley was not out of the top 10. He started off in 2nd and just hung around the top 10, and of course 4th after last night's final 8 games of match play. So he has had just a great week here. Handegard, 7th, standing up and finally went down, but leaves himself now with that fairly easy spare. Leaving the 10 pin now.
John's going to move over to the left, and he's going to convert this spare. But right here, you look at his form, how great his timing is. He gets to the line, how solid. He's got great balance. Goes through that ball great.
Well, at the age of 57, you win on the national tour, and you beat all those young guns.
Well, another thing is John's a very smart player. If you notice, even when he's bowling right now, he's using 2 different shoes. He told me he changed shoes, everything. People don't realize that an approach could make a big difference.
Some of the other finishers you saw, Dick Baker finishing 15th, Gary Mage 16th, Roger Workman 17th, Bob Hart finishing in the number 18 position, Virgil Enger, and Chuck Pierce from Louisville, Texas. He's always around the pocket.
Sure is.
Handegard in that 9th frame. Some trouble there.
John doesn't seem to have the confidence that he normally does, and I think that 8-10 just shook him up.
He's had trouble on the lane. He now on 20, basically. 19, he's having some problems now, leaving the 3-6-10. Not an easy spare, but for the pros.
No, it's not. It's really not an easy spare when you have to go cross lane. If you throw too hard, you might miss it. If you go a little short, there's a perfect example. He chopped. Either way.
So John Handegard, uncharacteristically, I guess, of Handegard, started off strong with a 3-bagger and has had some problems. Fraley now finds himself coming up in the final 2 frames here, a 9-pin advantage. He can certainly shut out Handegard here.
Right.
That's correct. If he strikes, he's up 19 with no score. It's 2. 2 strikes.
Fraley leaves the 4-pin on the 9th frame and certainly knows the score. Handegard looking up, knows the score, and great match here for the semifinal match. Scores not quite as high as we thought, but competitive matches.
Now Fraley left the 4-pin twice on this lane.
When you're around the pocket, tough to make adjustments.
He's got to make only a little adjustment. You don't want to move too far. He's right there.
Fraley converts now and can still wrap up this match should he double here in the 10th frame and knock out John Handegard, the local favorite here, and move on to face the Rookie of the Year on the Senior Tour, Pete Couture. But this is certainly not over, and it comes down here to who makes the shots in the 10th frame.
Now, Fraley has struck every time this game on this lane, so he's on the lane he needs to be to shut him out. Look at this.
165.
Well, certainly not the shot he wanted to throw in that situation.
That's strictly pressure.
Take a look at the shot again, Carmen. And
He elbowed that ball real badly, and as a result, the ball went high, and he just chopped through the pins.
174.
Look how sick he is. You could see it. He knew it.
Fraley will take two and get out with a 174 over the last 3 or 4 shots. Not one of these players have been real happy with their shot-making ability here. And so Handegard comes up now, needing a spare and 6 pins to beat Ted Fraley. And I don't think he thought he was going to be in this position. So maybe if he's getting a re-rack, collecting his thoughts a little bit as we take a look now at some of the other finishers. Finishing 21st, strong Gene Stuss, and Fred Strasser finishing 22nd. Tita Semez, super senior, super guy, super player, and Glenn Carlson finishing 24th.
Now, this is a real difficult shot because he left an 8-10 and then he went high, so he's got to make the adjustment again.
Tough lane for him. John Handegard has just about handed the match to Ted Fraley. I haven't seen this one picked up on television.
No.
This big split. Anything can happen.
Can you believe this? A champion of that caliber needs a mark. So that's what keeps people coming back to bowling. It's the toughest sport in the world. Oh, boy.
Gave it a great try, and John Handegard, 167. Interesting. Both players open in the 10th frame. Ted Fraley is going to move on to the title game with a 174 to 167 win. He'll now take on last year's Rookie of the Year on the Senior Tour, Pete Couture. Back in a minute. The BPAA Senior US Open, match 1, 205 to 196. And then he won the second match, 237 to 206, and of course won the third match, but he's got to go against a tough competitor in Pete Couture. Pete has not lost from the top-seeded position. He's been there twice before on the national tour, and he won both tournaments. He's the Rookie of the Year on the Senior Tour, averaging better than 227. And Pete Couture is warming up right now, taking a few practice shots, getting ready for that championship match. And before we go to that title match, had an opportunity to talk with Mike Kaufman of the beautiful facility here at Sam's Town. Mike, certainly has been just a great week out here at Sam's Town. 448 players started on Monday. How do you sum up this year's event?
It has been a great week here at Sam's Town. This is our first time that we've ever been affiliated with the senior players as far as co-sponsoring and hosting an event. And the guys, I have nothing but praise and admiration for the way they've conducted themselves this week. Their enthusiasm, their courtesy towards the bowling fans that have come out all week has just been great.
The inaugural tournament this year, the BPAA Senior US Open. Plans for next year?
Well, at the conclusion of the tournament, we'll go ahead and critique the event as well. BPAA critique the event and make a determination in probably about 90 days what we're going to do for next year.
I'm sure they'd love to come back.
We'd love to have them.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thank you.
So we're getting ready for the championship match between Ted Fraley and our top-seeded player, Pete Couture. Back with that in a minute. US Open, and the money's nice, but look at that, huh, Carmen?
The trophies are beautiful.
This tournament giving away the trophy for the champion and also the runner-up.
That's very unusual. Normally just the champion gets a trophy.
Both these players from Florida, the Florida area. You've got Ted Fraley, who has won 3 matches to get here and have the opportunity to face top-seeded Pete Couture.
Teddy.
Fraley, kind of an errant shot, and I don't know if he got a break on that one.
Certainly did.
The 6 falling out, leaving the 310, the baby split, and Fraley has struggled at times. It looked in the second game that he was getting things going there. Shot a 237 in that second game, but won with a 174 against John Handegard and has the baby split. He opened against Handegard in the opening frame and came back and won the match, and starts off here with an open, and you don't want to do that against Pete Couture, but we keep saying it, and Fraley keeps on winning.
Yes, he just finds a way to slip in there.
Pete Couture, the Senior US Open, or rather the Senior Rookie of the Year a year ago. Twice he has bowled from the top-seeded position and has won both times. Starts off nice.
You know, Pete's got a little hitch in his elbow there, but he gets a lot of power out of it because he gets underneath the ball with a great lift.
Unorthodox, but I guess if you repeat it, that's the key.
That's the key. He does the same thing all the time.
Couture, formerly of Windsor Locks, Connecticut, now from Titusville, Florida. That's about 40 miles east or so of Orlando. Trouble on 19. We've got a title match. You're bowling for the trophy, of course, but $40,000 top prize awaits the winner. A lot of pressure.
Doesn't seem like our bowlers today are relaxed. Normally they, you know, they get past a game or two and they're on their way, but they just seem to be uptight tonight for some reason.
Couture with a 3-6-10 and converts it. So Couture gets sort of a break there. Threw the shot, has a spare in the second frame, and leads now by 11. Well, Fraley just won't go away, and bowling for the title, something he's never done before. That will help him, your friends out there once in a while.
That'll loosen you up a little bit.
You see anything in either Pete Couture right now or Fraley, maybe some adjustments they may make?
Yeah, Fraley right now, to me, is starting to hang on the ball like he wants to steer it rather than just let it roll and get that freewheeling shot he had earlier. And Couture is a very aggressive player, but he's pointing the ball. He's not giving his ball any room.
Fraley, good shot, leaving solid 10-pin, not a weak 10-pin. Good shot by Fraley in the third. A good friend, Kurt Brose, president of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America. And he was a gentleman really instrumental in getting this tournament and bringing it here and getting it together, getting things started. And a wonderful event it's been all week long. Survival of the fittest, I guess. Fraley covers the 10-pin. Couture now will be up in the third frame, working on a spare. Still leads the match now by 11.
Pete's a person likes to take one step at a time. He doesn't like to get overly anxious, but he's still a very aggressive person within himself. He doesn't talk much.
Big strike in the third frame for Couture. I think it's kind of interesting because he didn't win his first title till the age of about 33. And he won 5 titles, and certainly on this TV pair, he's done very well, averaging 236, but really came on, and he quit the tour in 1987. Just couldn't make any money, and on the senior tour, boy, he fits right in.
He's 11 plus now, but this is a key ball. If he gets a double here, he's going to get loose. He's going to get going.
Couture up in the fourth frame. Buries it, so Pete Couture working on a double. It looked like 19 giving the player some fits. Maybe he figured something out.
Yes, I noticed that time he extended his arm a little bit to get the ball down there longer, and as a result, the ball didn't break as soon, and he packed the pocket.
Fraley trails by 21. Cut to 11 with this strike. Got it. That's all 10. Tom Hubbard, marketing director for the BPAA. Enjoying the competition. Just a great event for the seniors to come out here. The 400 plus. You're down to 2.
Strikes here. It goes to Couture plus 11.
You're down to just 6 frames. Fraley again with a beautiful shot. I don't know, maybe throw a little bit harder. He said he seems to bowl better when he can really power the ball a little bit, not a finesse player.
That's right. He looks like he's best when he gets pumped up. If he gets a little too slow, then that elbow starts popping and the ball starts hooking early. But if he keeps his drive up, he seems to throw a much better ball.
Couture up in the 5th frame, leading now by 11. Got all of them, and Pete now knows that he's 5 frames away from a possible shot at his first senior title.
Now, that's the only thing that could make Pete press is when you want to win that first title, get it underneath your belt. But he's a good quality bowler. He's going to make it. If you watch, he's throwing the shot better and better every frame. Couture maybe got a bit of a break there, just leaving the 4-7. So
Couture will try to pick up the two-pin spare there. And for Pete Couture, boy, he relishes that top-seated spot. And I had an opportunity to talk to Couture, and he said that he loves it up top.
I mean, the best thing about the top-seeded position is that I'm guaranteed to bowl for the title. Nobody else is today. And I'm 2 for 2, and hopefully I can keep my record intact.
We'll be back with more action here in the U.S. Senior Open. All the way down 14 for third, 8,000 and 5,000, a $225,000 total purse.
Beautiful purse. I wish we had more tournaments like this, and I heard nothing but complimentary things about the tournament. It was a well-run tournament.
Fraley working in the 6th, working on a double, and is going to be working on a two-pin spare here. So problems again for Fraley. However, I think the player that makes the spares out down the stretch, maybe a good shot of winning this one. We know in the last match, both players opened in the 10th frame. Fraley able to win it over John Handegard. He trails by 21 to Pete Couture in the 6th frame. Spares not as easy as you think out here tonight, and he converts that one to stay in this match. Fraley won all 3 matches, the first 3 matches, to get this far. And a shot at winning this coveted title. So Couture leads now by 21, heading into the 7th frame. I don't know, but I heard a thud. He lofted it out there a little bit. Maybe that's a way to...
Well, he hung on to the shot. You know, pressure does a lot of funny things. Watch him hang on to the shot and flip it. Look at it, double bounced, and he still struck. But that's okay. You know, you can get bad breaks. Sometimes you can get good breaks, too. And that's what he did that frame.
I tell you what, a great event. Talking about a great event, we certainly had this one as Pete Couture now in the 7th frame. Stubborn 7-pin. But coming up in August, Freddie Borden's going to have the Senior Masters. That's a $300,000 event. I know Freddie's working hard at it right now and hoping to have some 550 bowlers there for that event. Once again, that's in August at Stonehenge Place in Akron. Freddie Borden's done an awful lot for bowling, and there's going to be a major tournament there in Akron come August. Couture working now on that single pin spare. Covers nicely. So Pete Couture loves to play tennis, loves to play golf. Maybe it frees up your swing a little bit with those games.
Pete Couture works out, too. He told me that he likes to do light weights, and that's good. I recommend light weights for bowling. You don't want to really lift heavy weights and get a lot of bulk. You want lean, strong muscles, and he's got a good frame for bowling. He's not too tall, and he stays in good shape. He'll be around for a long time.
Last year, 139,875. He could surpass that in one tournament, winning this one for 40 grand. Couture again, breaking that one up, leaving just the 4 pins. So coming right down to it now, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Take a look at his shot.
Actually, that's an excellent shot. The ball just broke a little sharp, and he got a pretty bad break for a moment there, left a 4-9. The 9-pin went down, and he even knew himself. He's going, Mike, what am I supposed to do to strike here?
Not the 4-9, and comes up with the relatively easy spare, if you can say easy spare tonight. So Pete Couture leads in this match by 19 pins. Pete has never bowled for 40,000. Never bowled for that amount of money on the national tour, on the senior tour, so it's new for both players. Fraley carries that in an opportune time now with a double. So Fraley has now put himself up basically 1 pin in this match. Should he strike here, he's got a 1-pin lead over Pete Couture, so this guy's never out.
You've got to give Fraley a lot of credit. You know, he's not a seasoned player like a lot of these guys are, but I'm going to tell you something. He's not taking a backseat to anybody tonight.
You don't either, do you, Carmen?
No,
I know that.
You never do that.
No. So see you later on that shot. Beautiful. I think his swing's loosening up even more. So Ted Fraley with a 1-pin advantage. Heading down out of the 10th frame. And so Pete Couture, when you talks about a title on the line, 40,000, you got to make shots here in the 9th and 10th.
This is a key shot. He's got to set up the 9th frame.
Frank Ellenberg, a pretty good bowler, U.S. Senior Open tournament director, very good bowler, in fact.
Not a bad golfer either, I know that.
Backhand, 175.
I don't think you can throw it any better than that.
This is no time to leave a solid 10 when the other guy's starting to strike. And now he's left Fraley where he can close him out.
Right. So Pete Couture now could have used that strike in the 9th frame. He finds himself down 2 pins to Ted Fraley, who has won the first 3 games, trying to just make it a clean sweep. I don't think they bring out the brooms in bowling, do they? Picks that one up. Couture, I'll tell you what, when you're bowling for a senior championship, you've got a 2-pin game. This is what it's all about as we head into that 10th.
Right now, Couture's potential is 225, and Fraley's potential is 237. So even if Couture strikes out, he can't shut out Fraley.
Comes down to making the shots. Couture did a last frame with that ring in 10. Comes right back on 19. That lane's given the player some fits, but Couture masters it at least on the first shot. Big strike there, needs another one.
That's right. He's got to put the pressure. This is fantastic. He threw his best shot right there. That was the best release he's had all whole game. And now he needs another one because he's got to make Fraley press. And when you do that, it's not easy because he's got to get a strike. And not only does he have to get a strike, then he has to get at least an 8 or 9 pin count to win by 1 pin.
The 2-8 Couture. Fraley, boy, stoic, I guess is the word. Fraley just looks over there and knows what he needs and glanced up at the scoreboard for a brief moment, but Pete Couture leaving the 2-8 here.
Yeah, the ball, he just threw it and got out of his hand too fast, and he didn't get any fingers on that ball.
So the tournament leader, Pete Couture, covers that and ends up with a respectable 215 here in the title match. Did not open in the game there. Ted Fraley had an open in the first frame, but caught a double. He's working now 3 in a row, and he's working on a shot now at possibly winning this championship as he asks for a re-rack. How many are allowed during a game?
Actually 2. And this, I don't know, sometimes bowlers take re-racks, not because the pins are all spot. They're in a tough spot. They want to relax. They need that extra minute. But he actually needs a 9-pin count.
9 spare strike will do it.
Yeah. But that's not that easy to get.
Fraley, the biggest ball of his career. And he has to be proud the way he threw it.
Absolutely.
Biggest shot of his early career on the senior circuit. And again, Pete Couture threw an excellent shot in the 9th frame with the 10-pin. And Fraley comes back, and I think he really thought he had it.
Well,
by the
let
reaction.
me tell you, if he gets a 9 and he makes his spare, and he packs the pocket again, leaves the 10-pin, we're going to have a roll-off.
Silent. Fraley picks that up. He knows what he needs. 9, we're all tied. We roll a few more frames.
8, you lose. 9, you tie. And 10, you're the champion.
What do you think's going through his mind right now to attack this?
The most important thing, if you're in this spot, and I've been there, you've got to say, hey, I've got to make my best shot. I don't care about the noise. I don't care about Pete. He's gone. He's made his shot. It's my turn. I'm all alone. Bowling is an offensive game. There's no defense. You just got to think offensively.
If we strike.
Strike will win it. 9, and we have a tie. That's it. Ted Fraley, the biggest shot of his career. After leaving a solid 10-pin, picks that up, comes back with the strike to beat Pete Couture in a thrilling championship match of the Senior US Open, 216 to 215.
That's it.
Ted Fraley beat 4 opponents on his way to his first senior title. $40,000 top prize and a beautiful trophy awaits Ted Fraley, the champion of the inaugural BPAA Senior US Open. Fraley came on strong after opening in the first frame at a double, 4th and 5th, and came back there with strikes 7 through 9. Solid 10-pin the first ball in the 10th and converged with that strike. Let's take a look at that winning shot one more time because I'm sure Ted's going to want to see that.
Now, he kept a lot of zip on that ball, and the ball was rotating real fast even though it came light on the pins. It had great pin action. That's what he needed to throw to win, and that's what he did.
He threw the knockout punch, didn't he? We'll be back to talk with our winner after this break. Once again, Ted Fraley, the winner of the BPAA Senior US Open. Samstown Hotel, Gambling Hall, and Bowling Center, Las Vegas, Nevada. Also by Storm Bowling Products, the innovative bowling company. By Head & Bowling, revolutionizing bowling. And by Turbo 2-in-1 grips. We have a grip on bowling.
A thrilling title match in the BPAA Senior US Open. Here's your winners. Ted Fraley defeating Pete Couture by a single pin, 216 to 215. Here with a little awards presentation, the president of the Bowling Proprietors Association, Kurt Brose. First of all, Kurt, a great tournament.
Outstanding tournament, a wonderful field, tough competition all week. Pete was here all the way right to the final ball, actually, right down to the end. Pete, congratulations. Runner-up.
Thank you very much.
Well deserved.
Pete, first of all, a quick question. That title match, you marked in every frame. It just came down to, I think, that solid 10-pin maybe in the 9th frame.
No, it came down to the second shot in the 10th when I could have taken the lead and I didn't throw a good shot. I don't want to cut into Ted's time. I just want to thank all the sponsors. Thank you, Las Vegas and Samstown. I will be back.
Thanks a lot. Pete Couture, the runner-up in this tournament, and the winner is Ted Fraley. Congratulations. A huge win, the first win for you on the senior tour. Kurt, some more hardware.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have the first BPAA Senior US Open, $225,000 purse. Ted, outstanding from top to bottom. The eagle, a symbol, those that soar at that level, and you certainly did all week. You soared right to the finish. Congratulations on behalf of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Just an exceptional week. Now, you're not going to leave here with just a trophy. There's no doubt about that. Director of Bowling here at Samstown Bowling Center. Beautiful facility here, Mike Coffin. Mike, little check.
Ted, on behalf of all the sponsors that made this tournament possible in Samstown, it's my pleasure to present you a check for $40,000. Congratulations, Ted.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Samstown and Head and 2-in-1 Grips and Storm for sponsoring this tournament. It's a great tournament, a great start, and I'd like to take one moment to thank my special friend Don Johnson for teaching me how to throw strikes.
And Don Johnson certainly threw a lot of strikes. Once again, congratulations, Ted. A big win for you here on the Senior Tour.
Thanks a lot. I mean, it hasn't quite sunk in yet. I mean, I've wanted a title for so long. I finally got one, and it'll, like I say, it'll take a while to sink in. Thanks so much.
216 to 215, your winner, Ted Fraley. For my partner, Carmen Salvino, I'm Phil Ferguson. So long from Samstown Bowling Center in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Good night, everyone.